understanding real estate jargon can definitely feel frustrating and confusing. Today, I'm going to help demystify some really common real estate terms that you might see on listings in Deep Creek Lake, Maryland. So let's dive in. If you're looking for more than just lake views when buying a property at Deep Creek Lake, it's really important to know the difference between a true lakefront, a split lakefront, and lake access.
True lakefront home will have a boundary line that directly borders the lake. It's the simplest of the lakefront types and often comes with a Type A dock slip, which is a term we'll define later. Split lakefront is when there's a road between the property and the dock slip. There's typically deeded lake access to a dock slip or lake frontage area that could be shared or private. These homes tend to be less expensive than true lakefront on average. Lake access is when a property is not located on lake frontage. There may be lake views, but not always. Lake access is typically for a community or managed HOA, such as Villages of the Wisp, Sky Valley, or the Pinnacle. The important thing to note is that lake access does not mean lakefront, and it doesn't always mean that the property comes with a dock slip.
Two really common questions I get as a real estate agent around the Deep Creek Lake area are, what is the buffer strip? And what does it mean if I own or don't own the Buydown on my property? So let's talk about those two terms and their implications.
At Deep Creek Lake, the buffer strip is the state-owned land that lies between private properties and the water's edge. It's managed by the Maryland Department of Natural Resources, or DNR, to preserve water quality, prevent erosion, and maintain the lake's natural environment. Owners can apply for permits to install docks, create pathways, or perform limited vegetation management, but all modifications require DNR approval. The buffer strip helps preserve the natural beauty of the lake area. In the late 1990s, when the state purchased the lake from the electric company, lakefront owners had an opportunity to purchase the quote-unquote buy-down buffer strip between the property line and the lake. It was really reasonably priced, roughly a few $100s. By purchasing, owners effectively expanded their property. But there are no additional privileges that come with owning the buy-down. The buy-down is either included or not included with lakefront properties, so make sure to check with your real estate agent for the property you're interested in. For more information about the buy-down, I have attached a link to the conservation easement packet that includes the DNR resource guidelines for the buffer strip that answers some commonly asked questions.
Having a dock slip can obviously add substantial value to a home. There are a very limited number of dock slips available at Deep Creek Lake, and they really aren't adding more dock slips except in very rare cases where there might be about 100 feet or more of lake frontage on an undeveloped lot.
Docks are highly valuable, not just for full-time residents, but for renters as well, for their convenience and not having to pay a significant one-time fee and/or yearly marina fee just to maintain a slip. Even having a dock slip at a commercial marina is highly valuable and not always immediately available. Most of those slips are non-transferable though, so make sure to read your lease carefully to know what the expectations are going into a transaction. Type A dock means that on the lake you can have up to 2 powerboats, 1 jet ski, and 1 non-power boat under 500 pounds. These properties are typically in highest demand due to the privacy, ease, and convenience for residents and short-term renters. They are often granted for properties with around 100 feet of lakefront, but not always. Other types of docks at Deep Creek are either restricted, shared, community, or limited use slips. They could be short-term or HOA moderated. The situation really can vary by community, so make sure to ask your real estate agent what the dock situation is for the home you're interested in, and always make sure to check with the Maryland DNR to confirm dock and buffer strip status prior to purchasing.
Public sewer availability is limited in Garrett County, especially as you get farther away from the lake area. Because of this, many homes are equipped with septic tanks and fields. The number of bedrooms you're allowed to build in Garrett County is limited by the septic system capacity, unless of course you're on public sewer. Regardless, all building permits need to go through the Garrett County office. When you purchase an undeveloped lot around the lake area and it does not come with public sewer hookups, the site will either be listed as Perc-Approved or some alternative. Perc-Approved means that the site is approved by the county for a traditional septic system. Typically, this means that the soils drain well and there's enough space on the property for a traditional septic drain field. If a property is Perc-Approved, then it will also typically list the maximum number of bedrooms allowed. So, if you have your heart set on building a 6-bedroom home,
The Perc test will be very important, especially if you want to rent the home or resell it, as the number of bedrooms advertised must match the septic limit. To get Perc approved, the county has to come out to the site and do what's called a Perc test. If the property fails the test, then you can possibly put in an alternative septic system, such as a mound or a sand filter system. Or you may want to explore alternative options, as these can be more expensive and require higher levels of maintenance.
Thanks so much for joining me today. If you still see a term on a listing and you're thinking, what does that mean? Make sure to give me a call using my contact information in the video description below. My name's Elizabeth Ware. I'm with Raley Realty. Make sure to like and subscribe to follow along for more lifestyle and real estate content at Deep Creek Lake.